Hello.
Hi.
Oh my God, you were almost here before me. I literally logged on like less than a minute ago.
Oh, no way.
Thank you for tuning into my channel, everyone. Today I'm here with Jen from Gen The Degenerates. Some of
Hello.
you might have heard of them before or not. Just in case you haven't, I'm sure Jen will happily introduce herself and the band real quick so you know who I'm even talking to.
Yes, I'm Jen. I'm from Gen The Degenerates. Name's in the title. We're a rock band. There's 5 of us. We're from the northwest of England, and yeah, we write bangers.
It was so cool when Xander, he dropped me a message. He was like, I know you're really busy, Jenny, but if you have the time, would you be willing to hop on a chat with Jen? I was like, would I? The question should be when, not if. That is the wrong question to ask here, Xander.
Oh my
Offensive.
oh my god, you're too sweet. And I've just realized like our names are so similar, like Jen, Jan, like
Yeah.
we're so
But they're
close.
both of them are shorts as well because
Yeah.
your full name is obviously really long as well.
Yeah. What's your full name?
Janine.
Janine, and mine's Genevieve.
Yeah.
Nice.
When I
Nice.
saw your name for the first time, I had like a mega flashback because we used to have a Genevieve in our class as well. And
Oh
she was
no way.
really into music and all that kind of stuff. So I was like, oh my God.
God. That's such a funny coincidence. The universe does something with Genevieve's.
Exactly. It's like Genevieve's in music. There's just something going on there.
Symbiotic.
I love it. I love it. And I mean, you've just literally just said that you're really busy and that you have a lot of exciting things coming up. So let's maybe
Mm.
start with the most recent one before we look further to the future, which is Wild Thing. Oh,
Oh yeah, the new
yeah,
single came out.
right. There was a new song. I completely forgot about that.
Oh my god, I think you get like so wrapped up in what's happening like in a month's time, in 2 months' time, that sometimes you don't stop and register what's just gone by. But yeah, we released our song Wild Thing. I'm really happy with it. It's been a really nice response from everyone, so that's really good. Got to have my little cousin Evie in the music video, which was so fun to have her come and be a little mini me for a couple of days. And yeah, I think it's going great.
I watched the music video earlier. I listened to the song like when it came out, but I hadn't had a chance to like check out the music video and I watched it earlier and it's great. Oh my God, I loved it. One of my favorite scenes was probably when everyone was like sitting in the pub and having their beers and your little cousin is just having her glass of milk. I'm like,
Yeah.
yes, oh my God, this is great. So how did that like even happen? Was that like an epiphany moment some morning where you're like, I have the idea, or did that just kind of evolve?
I think I was at the gym on an exercise bike and I just like go off into little dream worlds to keep myself from being too bored when I'm doing the exercise bike. And yeah, I just dreamed it up and I thought it'd be so fun to have Evie come and be a little me. And she's kind of like a little me in life anyway. So it was the perfect thing. And yeah, it's funny you mentioned the milk because she drank almost an entire carton of milk because she wanted to like, because obviously she had to drink some for the scene, but then she like downed it at one point and the boys were like, whoa, Evie, that's so metal, like wow. And then I think she quite liked that they thought that she was like like hardcore, so she would just like down the milk all the time and she got through like almost an entire carton and spent the rest of the day being like, I need to pee.
Oh my God. Someone should have at least like handed her a bit of cereal or something.
Yeah.
That would have been pretty great.
Oh my god, I was making her coffees, which I don't know if you're supposed to do that with 13-year-olds,
I was about
but
to say, how old is she? At 13, it is fine. I mean,
yeah.
depends on how many coffees, to be honest. But hey, at
Well, she
least her
wanted
energy
them, she asked
levels.
for them. It was so funny. We got literally like I'd had her for like a few hours because I went and picked her up and drove her home. And the first stop we made, we had like a normal meal, and then I bought her like a sharing bag of Skittles and a mocha. And I was like, this might be bad.
Sugar high around the
Yeah,
corner.
literally. Literally. I don't know if I should have done that. But
But hey,
she seemed to have a great time, so it's all good.
keeping the energy levels high.
Yeah.
And I mean, it kind of goes with the song as well, because like Wild Thing is such a like an energetic song.
Yeah, it is. It's super high energy. Definitely. My uncle described it as the kind of song that makes him want to drive too fast. And I was like, that's it. That's
Yes,
perfect.
we encourage non-responsible behavior. I
Yeah.
mean, on the other hand, that song is about kind of not conforming to the rules. So he's just
Mm.
following instructions, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah, it's definitely is a bit it's self-acceptance for sure. And kind of enjoying celebrating your flaws and having a good time and not worrying about them too much.
And what I read in one of the press releases about the song is actually that there's like this really cute little story with a lullaby.
Yeah.
So go ahead and share that with the people because I think it's so cute. It's like,
Yeah, so my mum, so obviously people might have heard of the Trogs, who obviously did a version of a song called Wild Thing. And that is the song that my mum used to sing to me when I was a little baby at bedtime. She'd be like, "Wild thing, you make my heart sing," and like whatnot. And I thought it was a funny little story, and I was thinking about it, and it just the song came from there. It is like a blame the parents situation, you know. It's just this was a product of the kind of mother who sings "Wild Thing" by the Trogs to their baby, so didn't really stand a chance.
but was it like very much also in the music video having like a mini you basically? Was that very much a reflection of how you actually were when you were younger?
Yeah, I was always like, yeah, I was always quite rebellious. Not even rebellious, that's the wrong word. I've just always really done things my way. I think my parents were quite good at, because they're both, you know, they're like quite hippie parents. Um, they've been always been quite good at being like, well, you can do whatever you want to do, as long as you have a good reason for it, and your reason's better than the reasons not to. Um, and you know, just do what you want to do. It might not always work out, but you know, you've got to give it a shot. And that's kind of how I've moved through my life. I actually, at one parents' evening when I was in year 4, a teacher told my parents that I was too bohemian, which was quite funny.
Too bohemian.
Um,
What even does that
I
mean?
don't know. I think
Like
it's a polite way of saying that I was just weird.
teachers, that's not what you're supposed to tell
Yeah,
parents.
literally.
Would you say that being like a rebel or just very much individualistic, was that something you were very comfortable with as well when you were younger? Because I feel like sometimes people are that way, but then they're a little bit like, I don't know, I don't really want to show it, or like around
Hmm.
school or something.
No, I was always pretty confident with it. I think it helped. I've always had like quite a sharp tongue, so bullies never really bullied me, so I was always quite good at giving back whatever they were dishing out. And also, I think there is something to be said for just if you don't care what people think, then they stop having an opinion because it's a waste of time. So if they're
Yeah.
trying to tell you, oh, you're this and you're that, and you're like, yeah, sure, whatever, bye, then they're like, oh, okay, never mind, I won't try that again. So yeah, I think confidence is key for sure. Just do what you're gonna do, and doesn't matter what other people have to say about it, really.
I mean, that seems to be very much the message that you have in your music and with your band as well. I mean, so far you have 3 songs out, though I'm sure there is more you have,
There are.
in the backlog. But so far that seems to be very much like part of who you are as an artist, or like who all of you
Hmm.
are as artists.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're all great friends. So that always helps to get the most genuine perspective out of someone writing songs, as if you're working with people who you really trust and you know, love spending time with. And I think, yeah, I never set out really to write something that is a statement or is political, but I think because of who I am, being a queer, femme presenting person, um, with quite an alternative upbringing and perspective, no matter how I move through this world, it will be politicized by other people. So, you know, me being like, it's crazy to be like, oh, being a femme presenting person, being confident, how shocking. It's like, no, we should be confident. We should all be confident. Like that's crazy to think that that's a statement, but unfortunately we live in a world where that is a statement, to love yourself and to be confident. So yeah, I just write what I know and what I feel. And sometimes that isn't always confidence. Sometimes that is, the other side of the coin. But yeah, I just try and be genuine about what I'm feeling and experiencing, and hope that other people can connect with that as well.
Yeah, just authentically reflecting on life, basically, which
Yeah,
is what
exactly.
music does, because it gives you such a fresh and different perspective on like issues everyone knows, and you find like different bits and pieces of like songs or lyrics you'll connect with, and you'll be like, hey, this is something like I've experienced or I've seen people like
Mm,
in my surroundings experience. So it's nice that you're
100%.
like trying to just write from the heart, basically.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. People always say, write what you know. And to a degree, I do agree with that. But I also feel like there's something really valuable in writing what you don't know and sitting down with something that you're going through and you haven't quite understood or haven't quite processed, and using the music or the writing or whatever to get you to through that experience of processing it. The amount of times that I've sat down and used, and then like I feel like when I write a song, I'm like, oh, I get it a little bit more. And then by the time we've done like a music video and a release, and I've spoken in interviews and everything, I'm like, wow, I really understand this part of myself now that I didn't understand before. Like I start like before when I started writing Underwear, I was very much at the beginning of my journey with my queerness, and now I'm super comfortable in it, and I'm like, yeah, cool. And I think that's it's a great tool of self exploration.
Was that also like one of the first songs you wrote as the Gen The Degenerates project, or was that song like older, or did other songs come before Underwear?
Underwear, Underwear's been around for a while, yes, but it was probably the first one where we'd really found our groove and our sound and what we were going to put out into the world, because we'd been playing together for a while before then, but it hadn't really it kind of went in some different places, and we were trying it out and we were finding what we were doing. I think that's like a natural stage for a lot of bands, is that just that evolution of sound. And I say Underwear was where we kind of found that and locked in there.
Would you also say that's like a song where a lot of people like connected with you?
Yeah, I think so, which was so nice. As someone who often doesn't feel understood, or in the past didn't, things are moving in a good direction for me now in that area. But yeah, like growing up, I often didn't feel understood. So to have us to put out a song and have so many people be like, oh, I get it, this is what I feel, and like respond to it, I was like, oh my god, this is exactly why I've been writing music for the past decade or so. Like, this is amazing.
Yeah, it's always nice like seeing people, appreciate the art in it as well and find their own story and be like, this is all kind of like a collective therapy session,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
basically. And then add all of that into the live scenario,
Mm.
and voila.
Yeah. God, I love playing live. It's got to be my favorite part, I think. Just
What would
getting
you
out there
say?
and having a party.
What would you say was like one of your favorite shows this year? Obviously, you've gotten to play a few things since the summer.
My favorite shows. I love playing Burn It Down in Torquay. That was awesome. That's like such a great festival, such a good heavy music festival. And I think we're on the lighter end of that heavy music spectrum. So I think we had quite a lot to prove, and I think we managed to prove it and got a really good response from the audience. Because yeah, we are a band who can kind of be quite comfortable on an indie lineup or comfortable on a heavier lineup, because we draw from everything. So it was nice that show was so much fun. Heavy music fans really know how to have a good time. So it was
Yeah.
good. I was rolling around on a flight case. It was lots of fun.
Yeah, I mean, I always keep an eye on like the stuff you post from like your shows on socials. I'm like, oh, that does look like they know how to party and have fun.
It is our specialty.
So wait, how many shows do you have left this year then?
Just two. So we've
Just
got
two.
we're supporting our friend Zuzu on Thursday which is the 9th, I believe, of December, in Nottingham, which is going to be so much fun because the lineup is like Monkey Junkie or Curran, who is our producer, us, and then Zuzu, who is like a really good friend of ours, and is, you know, been like a great friend for the whole process of the band and everything. So that's going to be so much fun. And it's also the city my little brother lives in, so he's going to come down with his girlfriend, and it's going to be a big party. It's going to be so good.
Big party to basically, yeah, close off a wild year for you. I mean, 2021's
Exactly.
been wild, and then just starting out, basically you started out mid-pandemic, more or less.
Pretty much, yeah. What a great time to start.
I know, what a great time to start, but hey, you could have been off to like a worse start. I mean, you ended up
True.
somehow signing to Marshall as well, so you could be off way worse.
It could have been much worse. It could have been much worse. Yeah, we're going to wrap it all up with our headline in Jimmy's on the 18th in Liverpool, which will be amazing. And yeah, it's been such a crazy year. It's wild how wild thing. It's been such a like a whirlwind, starting out just getting signed and then, you know, everything happening one after the other. It's been so good though. I can't wait to see what next year brings.
Yeah, and like you said, you're already working on some new songs off to the studio
Yeah.
soon.
Yeah, I can't wait. I love being in the studio. I just like doing everything.
You like
It's
doing
all good.
everything. Please specify what exactly everything is in that case.
I like doing all the elements of being in the band. Like, I think some bands they have a favorite bit, or they hate, you know, they hate doing like the press, or they hate doing the social media or something. And I love it all. I love songwriting. That's such a healing thing for me. I love going to the studio and working on recording the songs and finding that like pocket that the song sits in, and, you know, just hanging out with my friends for a week in the studio. I love going on the road and having a party. That's obviously self-explanatory. And I like doing social media. I like connecting with people. I like chatting to press. I feel like you can make a release campaign really creative and exciting. Like, I like doing, you know, I'll always like dream up fun things for us to do for shoots. Like, I hate being just a band that stands in front of a wall. I'm like, no, let's
Everyone does
see the
that.
whole world. So yeah, I just like, it's just, you know, that's the great thing about being a musician, is you have like so many different jobs that you get to like pick up and put down, which yeah, is great.
Yeah. You won't get bored with
No, you
any
don't
of
get
it.
bored.
There is so
Definitely
many
not.
different things to do. It's definitely not a desk job where it's like, okay, you clock on at 9 o'clock in the morning and then you clock off at 5 p.m. and it's like, bye, I'm leaving now. It's like you're on around the clock, but you get to do all these fun things like hang out
Exactly.
in the studio. I'm sure like on one hand that is a lot of work and you're probably gonna be drained at moments because just like, okay, trying to, get this right, get it all like working well, but on the other
Mm.
hand, it's just gonna be a blast probably as well.
Yeah, you experience like some different unique types of burnout, but then you get home and you have a bit of rest and you're ready for round two, you're ready to go off and do something else. But yeah, for sure.
And I mean, you're definitely someone that shows up on TikTok a lot as well. Like I always see you when I scroll, like whenever I'm on the app, no matter when I scroll, there's always at least one of your videos that pops up. I'm like, there she is again.
I'm like, I have recently got addicted to TikTok. I was struggling with it when I first started to get going with it. And then I just kind of got in the groove of it, and now I can't stop.
What I've found is like with TikTok, it's sometimes almost as if you're working with music, as in you have like a sound or something someone says, and you kind of relate your own story and message to
Yeah.
it, even though when someone says something and you make it your own, it doesn't need to be exactly reflective of what they're saying, but you kind of get the
Yeah.
story, you kind of get the gist of it. And I feel like once you've cracked that code a little bit on how that works for you, it's actually just a content machine where you're just like, oh, I can turn this into that, I can turn this into
Yeah,
that, I can turn this into that.
absolutely. And like, I just love that, like, it's like most of our fan base is on Instagram or Twitter, really. So it's fun to just like reach a whole new fan base, basically. So that's great. I'm enjoying that.
And I'm wondering, like, what do you think that people that come across you in the band for the first time, what do you think is going through their heads?
It depends who they are. Um, I would like to think that they think the music's good. I would like to think that yeah, they're enjoying the music and the art in itself. I think that what we get this a lot live and feedback from online is just like how confident and how much fun it is. And then like I think that's the immediate thing. And then as they get into it, they'll start to pick up a bit more on like the message of the songs, or you know what the lyrics are actually saying. But I think the immediate takeaway is like, damn, that's like some stage presence, that's some confidence, like that's like I can rock out to this, I can have a good time to this. And then they'll be listening and they'll be like, oh wow, like this actually has some depth to it, like cool. Which yeah, that's, you know, I couldn't ask for more than that really. That's a pretty good trajectory for me.
Absolutely. I mean, when people like see that and they're like, I want to be just like a part of that. I want to enjoy this music in like a live setting or just like listening to it, like have a little party, but then on the other hand, maybe think about the lyrics a little bit.
Mm. Yeah, well, that's the best thing to do, you know, arts communication, and I want to be able to talk to people through my music about stuff that I'm passionate about and that's important to me. But I don't want to stop. I don't want to make it something so you know, highbrow or you know beyond the majority of people's interest, so that that message doesn't end up landing with people. You know, I want it to be something fun and also something accessible to everyone.
I mean, you've just said like message a lot within that one sentence. And I'm sure like every song has like its own message, but what would you say is like the overarching message of Gen and the Degenerates?
I think it is like radical self acceptance, but also not um, necessarily individualism in the modern sense of like individualism. I think it's about finding community as well. So be like radical self acceptance, but also radical acceptance of others, and um, you know, being able to find happiness in a group and find self-acceptance in a group, if that makes sense. So you're not just removing yourself into self-acceptance, it's about like being able to have amazing times around other people and find ways to make the world a better place in general.
Yeah, and I think community is such an important aspect, and it's definitely something that I think we all felt the weight of, or how important that is these past like 2 years, because a lot of
Mm,
the community that was happening was no longer happening like in real life out there, but online. And it's just, we all kind of want that connection in a way with
mm,
different communities and within ourselves. And I think it's a lot about, like you said, on one hand, like definitely accepting yourself for who you are and not being afraid of that either. I feel like sometimes people are a bit afraid of, this sounds really weird, but like stepping into their power and being like, hey, this is me and that's completely okay. And this is what I like doing and this is the person I am. But then
mm,
being like that within a group, like finding your spot within a group, but still being an individual and accepting that other people are going to be the same, that they are their own person within this
exactly.
community.
Yeah, 100%. Like you don't want to, you know, you don't want it to turn into this like tribalism where you're like, oh, well, we're this group. And like, for example, like, oh, we're like rock fans and we're like this and we wear black and we do this and we do that. And we don't associate with like pop music fans.
Yeah.
Like, fuck that. Like, everybody have a good time together. Love yourself and love that you love rock music, but also love your friends who love pop music and love that they love pop music. And now genre's becoming less and less relevant, and it's more about, you know, what you feel. And yeah, that idea of like, oh, I only listen to this type of music is becoming less and less relevant with stuff like streaming platforms, because you can kind of just dip into whatever you fancy and try a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And I think that's the way to go. I think that's so much better.
Is that also how you go about your songwriting a little bit? Just, you know, kind of doing dabbling in a little bit of this, dabbling in a little bit of that as well. And I don't know, I mean, you're quite a few people in the band. Do you think that plays a role as well into how you move genre-wise a little bit?
Oh, absolutely. Like we've all got like really different influences that we bring in, and then it kind of has like locked together into this sound that we're in now. But yeah, we all come from different musical backgrounds and different favorite genres. So there's anything from like metal to country music to like pop to hip hop. We just pull from everything.
Does that ever lead to disagreements?
Not really. No, not really. We don't really fight about that stuff. Like, we don't really fight about music. The only time we fight is when we get tired. And we get grumpy, and then we fight about like stupid inane stuff, absolute like random babble. But that's, I think, just any group of people who are exposed to each other for that amount of time and like are doing like 10-hour journeys and whatnot.
Definitely. And like, for example, when you're touring in a very small like van or something for many, many hours, for many,
Yeah.
many days on end, maybe.
Yeah, it would be like, please do not put on Metallica's Black Album. I want to have a nap. Like, that is like it's like that kind of thing. It's never like the creative process. We're always pretty good with the creative process, for sure.
So are you like, now when it's approaching Christmas, after you've been in the studio, will you take some time off, or is it like straight hustle through into next year and basically shoot for the stars in 2022?
Yeah, definitely. Enjoy Christmas with our families and then get straight back to it in January. We're going to hit the road in January with All Is a Vow to do a couple of dates. And then, yeah, it's just going to be thing after thing after thing, I think, just trying to keep busy, trying to grow the band and grow the audience as much as possible. And obviously have fun along the way.
Give us one thing you're particularly excited for in terms of the band in 2022, or like one thing you would like to do with the band in 2022.
I would really like to, I'd really like to get on some really good support slots for touring and play with some really like some bigger bands that we really respect and get to go around the country with them. That would be amazing.
What would be some examples? You can't just say like big
Ooh,
around. We need specifics here.
I'd love to go on tour with someone like Nova Twins, who are also on a label. They're amazing. But yeah, again, that thing we're talking about with genres is like we're kind of open to so many different bands and feel like we could have a good time with a lot of different bands.
Well, I'm excited to see who you will actually go out on the road with.
Me too.
And I promise I will show up at some show eventually. It will happen.
So nice to meet you.
It's always nice to like put an actual physical face to a digital
face. Yeah. Absolutely.
Sure. Thank you so much for taking the time and for taking us on a little tour through your history and the band history.
That's quite all right. Thanks so much for chatting to me. I've had so much fun.